IFA is the not so brand new 4-star character coming to Genshin Impact for version 5.6. And although I think his design is great and it's awesome to have more male characters, his kit is extremely lacking both in creativity and power. Regardless, we're going to go over IFA's pre-farming information, his best builds and teammates, and of course have a good long healthy rant. Let's get into it. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. IFA is an Anemo Catalyst user. His kit highly incentivizes him to be an on-fielder. He is a team-wide healer, but of course only while used as the on-fielder, and he has a passive that buffs the Electro Charge reaction and ascends with Elemental Mastery. As such, he is another one of Hoyoverse's latest and greatest attempts at making an Anemo driver character. And after we just had Mizuki, you can understand why I'm upset. At some point in beta, he had a really good C6 that gave him lots of damage, and he was able to be built as an Anemo DPS. But as of now, that has been removed, and he's now essentially just another Anemo driver, but he does have healing capabilities. So essentially, he's like a Sucrose, but you can use Farina on the team without another healer, so you can do that, I guess. The problem is Electrocharge teams just aren't good at a baseline. Like, they're okay in AoE, but it's not like they're good. Will you be able to 36 star? Barely. You'll be able to barely 36 star. If it's a really AoE heavy environment, then maybe it's like a decent kit. But even at C6, even with the best artifacts, unless you're getting constellations on Farina and having that carry the team, it's just not going to feel very good. At least compared to Mizuki, he does use his normal attacks, which means characters like Yelan and Xingqiu are going to be actually usable. So it's not all completely doom and gloom, but with the amount of Anemo, like Anemo drivers, or at least Anemo driver adjacent characters we have, it is still very disappointing. He does go into the Night Soul state, so he could theoretically be a Night Soul enabler for an Anemo character like Shao or Wanderer, I guess. He has a way to, he would have to hover into his thing and use his burst and then use his plunging attack to get Night Soul damage out and then react to another element like Hydro, and then that would be a way to get the scroll set for an Anemo DPS like Shao or Wanderer. That sounds kind of interesting, but that's basically the gist behind his kit. So we're going to come back to this screen after we do the pre-farming and the build, and then we'll talk about, yeah, the teams on this screen. So for your pre-farming guide, you're going to want to take him to 90. Elemental Mastery, swirl-based reactions, scale based on level. So 90 is the thing you want to do. You can skimp a bit on his talents. He is going to be using all three, but you don't have to level them up like crazy because you're not doing talent damage with him. He's going to use the Saurian hooks, as with everyone. These weird funny flower things, the current boss that we have, Anemo gems, the little tulip teachings, and a brand new boss. I think it's that chess boss, which looks super sick, by the way. Love that chess boss. For his build guide, you're going to want to go with Viridescent Venerer on almost all of his teams. EM, you're looking for EM substats. IFA's burst only costs 60, and he's going to be an on-fielder, so you don't need to build all that much ER. I don't think you'll need to build any, but if you do need a couple substats, it's not going to be very hard to get them because you're only looking for, like, that's the only substat that is of any value to him on the EM stuff, so you probably should be able to find that. In particular, if you have his C1, he gets an energy refund, so you really shouldn't have to worry about energy by the time you have his C1, which most people using IFA, you'll have his C1 probably. Not that tall of an ask. For weapons, if you don't have Constellation 6, Prototype Amber is likely going to be the best, as until Constellation 6, his healing feels pretty minimal. So it's not enough to really max out Farina, unfortunately. So Prototype Amber is probably going to be your go-to weapon. When you do reach Constellation 6, something more offensive like Hakushin Ring is probably going to be your best. I may or may not test it versus Mizuki. I haven't seen the calculations of both of these together, or what it'd be like to use sacrificial fragments, but considering Hakushin Ring is a craftable, you know, if you really want to maximize IFA and you'd be able to activate it pretty easily, you might as well craft yourself Hakushin Ring if you have a C6 and just go for Prototype Amber if C0. But if you already have a leveled Sunny Morning Sleepin' or sacrificial fragments and your IFA C6, then you can probably go for that, and it probably won't feel too much worse than Hakushin Ring. So yeah, I think that pretty much does it for his builds. Really not that much to it, honestly. And now moving on to his teams. So mostly you're gonna want to use him with Farina. I'm gonna write good in quotations because I don't think it's going to be very good. I am a certified Taser non-enjoyer. I don't think Taser's ever been that great. Like, it was good way back in the day before I even started playing, and it was sort of an okay free-to-play option when I was playing during like 2.0, 3.0. But with the introduction of Hyperbloom, it was pretty much worse. And then even now, Hyperbloom isn't that crazy. So being a worse Hyperbloom is just not good. And I mean, could he work in Hyperbloom? I guess, but you already have Kuki as a healer Electro applier, and you pretty much still need to run Kuki in IFA team to do Hyperbloom well. So I really don't see it. It's really just going to be a team damage loss to run IFA in a Hyperbloom team, so I'm probably not going to talk about it. Looking at some of the characters, probably, I mean, a Roron is going to be fine. You know what? I'm just going to put it Taser. And I will build him, guys, and I'll play a couple teams. I'll play a bunch of teams. We'll do a day one first impression, but I don't think he's anything except for like dedicated lovers of his kit to use for exploration. He's like a solid overworld character, but for people who enjoy like trying out new teams and doing new things and having fun playing the combat of the game, he's not it, right? He's just not. So like I said, fortunately, unlike Furina, he can use Yelan. So at the very worst, you can run Furina, Yelan, and like Fischl, Auroron. I mean, you can do Auroron because he's holding Animo, so Auroron can do Cinder City. So hey, you know what? Furina, Yelan, Auroron, and an Animo driver. That sounds kind of good. I don't know what you want from me. We just did this. We just did this with Mizuki. And Lan Yan, people were also talking about her being a driver. No one uses her because Taser sucks. And his best team is Moika. This is his best team, okay? It's Moika, Citlali, and Bennett, right? And then you use IFA on VV, you know? So you apply Moika's skill, you use VV with IFA, and then Bennett, and then Citlali, and then you go to town with Moika, and it's great. He's a great character. And hey, you know what? You need some extra Night Soul? He can front load some extra Night Soul for you. How about that? Totally. I'm actually, the fact that he can front load some Night Soul is kind of funny. I mean, that's kind of at least like interesting. Like, he's got an interesting niche as like a support for Wanderer or Shao. He's got a kind of funny niche supporting Moika, and then he's got like Cope Taser with Auroron, Furina, and Yelan, which is somehow worse than Sucrose with Prototype Amber. At least until C6, IFA is technically worse than Sucrose. That's sort of what the calcs have shown. The Genshin scientists, who I linked below, calced IFA at noticeably lower than Sucrose Taser at Constellation 0. When IFA gets to Constellation 6, then he passes Sucrose by a decent margin, but Taser isn't crazy to begin with, so the DPS is still sort of on the lower side, but it's at least not that bad. And that's, again, like I talked about in the weapon section, when you get his C6, you can run a more offensive weapon like Hakushin Ring, and that at least allows him to be a bit more usable. You may consider, depending on how his healing is, whether you have C6 or not, how much interruption resistance he ends up having, you may consider Xingqiu over Yelan, or maybe you do a triple Hydro and just get rid of the Electrocharge passive, and then do Xingqiu and do triple Hydro. That sounds okay. And of course, if you don't have Yelan, then Xingqiu will be a great option, as well as great as IFA options go anyways. You can probably also run him like with the Scoffier stuff and just like a Scoffier wheelchair, and then you run a Scoffier Furina Yelan, and he can shred with VV, but Scoffier is already a healer. So you can just run anything else and it would be better. You already have so much res shred. Well, actually no, you don't have that much res shred because you're replacing a cryo or hydro unit with an anima unit. But you're getting the res shred back at least from his kit. Oh my god. Guys, why? Why is it like this? I'm in so much pain, and I'm gonna have to 90 him because we build and test every character, and I'm gonna 90 him and use him 3 times and never use him again. I hope at least the Wanderer stuff and then maybe the Moika stuff is interesting, at least, so that there's some sort of something interesting, because right now I'm just beyond disappointed, and I feel bad for the people who really like his design and they have to cope with this kit. If you like his design, you want to use him, I really recommend Furina Constellations, right? Furina Constellations sort of save this team. Getting Furina Constellations and getting Yelan Constellations does save the team, and fortunately for all of us involved, originally, IFA didn't seem to have any interruption resistance, but they seem to have added it to his kit now. So hopefully he at least feels solid to play as a driver, even if he's not the strongest character ever. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not trying to I'm not trying to down people who are excited about him. You can still be excited about him. Like I said, I think he has a great character. I like him in the quest. I think he has a great design, great animations. He's really cool. And if you like him, I think you should use him. I don't think his constellations are all that great, so I don't think you should bother like getting a ton of his constellations and spending resources on that. Just get Farina constellations, maybe Elan constellations, and you know, you can have them carry and support IFA. So that's what I think. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe if you like me being honest, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just honest. I'm not trying to hate on anyone getting any character. You know, whoever your favorite character is, enjoy them, play them, love them. I love Mizuki. Mizuki's one of the designs I like a lot. If I wasn't a content creator, I would absolutely get C2 Farina to support my Mizuki so that I can use her and have it feel solid. That's absolutely what I would do. And I'm not downing anyone. Like, hey, I'm right there with you. Mizuki made my top 10 list when I did like that top 10 favorite character picker. Mizuki made my top 10 list of favorite characters, which I was shocked by. And unfortunately, she's terrible. But that didn't stop me from being excited about her. That didn't stop me from building her. If I was a normal person instead of a content creator, it wouldn't stop me from getting C2 Farina so that I could play Mizuki teams that actually feel all right. So that's what, if you love IFA, then that's what you should do. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tell you IFA's good when he's not. And if I don't judge character strength, then what is this channel even for? So that's what I think. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you think that that's a good thing. And if not, that's totally fine. Just watching the video was more than enough. Thanks so much, and bye for now.